Hello ladies and gents, and I wanted to begin this tour off back in the past. We're going to be verging in and out from past to present and back again. You'll see this image again at the end of the video as part of our little slideshow. But yeah, what you're looking at here is the Abbey Arms pub, which is on the junction of Barking Road, New Barn Street and Boleyn Street in Plaistow. And this is it in 1909. Don't know what event is occurring because there's quite a large crowd gathered outside the pub. But back in those days, especially for the poor who couldn't really afford to have their photos taken all that often, even having a photograph taken was a fairly big event. But there's very few details attached to this picture, so we're not going to know for certain what the event was that drew everyone out. Maybe it was just a photograph being taken. You can see all the blokes with their caps on and the ladies in their floor-length dresses and pinafores. And right over to the right you've got an omnibus making its way down the road. And they were new in those days, fairly new. The borough had only got the omnibuses in the very early 1900s, 1901 to 1902. So yeah, this is a little look at past Plaistow in 1909, and you're going to join me back in the present now, thankfully looking at the same building which still survives, but in a very, very different Plaistow to the one you see in this picture. So join me in the present and we'll begin our tour. Hello ladies and gents, we've had our little past look at the Abbey Arms pub, and we had a drink in this one recently and a tour, so obviously not doing this one again today. But yeah, part one of our tour is the walk from here to the Boleyn pub, Boleyn Tavern rather, at Upton Park. So yeah, a little view down the Barking Road towards Canning Town, and we shall now be off. Off we go. This here used to be the post office. The post office moved to where the music shop used to be. The music shop closed down. This is now a betting shop, but yes, it was the post office years ago. The bank, which is closed down now, still got its ATM machines. Our last little look at the Abbey and that. Iceland. That used to be the Swan, but it's a barber shop downstairs and flats above now. Another Plaistow or London legend was Bernard's Trading, a proper old school hardware shop. He's been closed down for a while now. He still owns the shop, and he doesn't seem to want to let it go. But one half of it was dolls' houses for his wife, and the other half of it was like DIY stuff and hardware. And the man's granddad started that shop in 1909. Yeah, their son, he had his own business, and he didn't want to take that one over. So when they both retired, yeah, there's still a shop there, basically their shop, and they don't want to let it go. It's been in their, yes, it said it's been in his family for so long. He made inquiries about selling it. A couple of people come to view it, and one of the people that come to view it wanted to convert it to a mosque, and he went nah. He really isn't racist as well, because he's got like mixed race in his family and stuff like that, but he went nah. He went, like, my granddad had this place for such a long time ago, and been in his family since his great-grandfather, his grandfather, his dad, and then to him. This used to be some kind of social club or something, like the West Ham Social Club, and I can never remember what the name of it is, so if someone can remember and tell me, because I want to do a then and now piece on this. And here's an interesting little thing. I know a lot of people like ghost signs. Ardeen Road. You got teas with Hovis bread. Ghost sign. Try that. Yeah. This is Plaistow Memorial Church. Memorial Community Church. This is one I will cover soon. I did email them and ask for a permission visit into the bell tower, but didn't hear anything back, so yeah, I will. It will be one I cover soon. Whether it's just the church itself or church and bell towers, I'm not quite sure. So yeah, there's a jumble sale there on at the moment. Yeah, it's a lovely old church. Look, see the architecture, and it's got a gallery in there and all that. So what I wanted to do is have a look in these bell towers. I emailed them, but no one got back to me. So we'll see. Might just be a case that I'll have to pop in and ask. This is Plaistow police station over here, which is now semi-redundant. It's not open. They still do bits and pieces there. But yeah, they closed a lot of the local police stations down and opened one great big regional one up near Stratford, which doesn't seem a good idea to me. If you have something go on in your local area, it would make a lot more sense for the men and women of this police station to get to you quicker than they certainly will in Stratford. There we are. Looking back. This obviously isn't going to be one massive great big long tour, and I will have to point you up and down at the floor and things at times, because when we go past bus stops, yeah, this isn't going to be one great big long tour. These are nice, these old houses, Victorian 2 up 2 downs villa, 1893. This one's called Frederick Villa, 1893. Florence Villa, look, 1892, so they must have started at this end of the street first and then worked their way down. Look, Florence Villa, 1892. Just here, obviously, is police station there, but just there was a car garage there for years, and this has replaced it now, this block of luxury flatettes. This was, for many years, a really good glazier's place. Glazier's yard and shop. He sold up and made an absolute killing on the land, and that's what went up in its place. Land prices in London at the moment are, well, just crazy. Yeah. Anyway, as I say, this isn't going to be one great big massively long tour. We'll do it in stages. So this is part 1, which is from the walk from the Abbey Arms to the Boleyn Tavern at Upton Park. Then you'll join me at the tavern where we'll have a drink. Oh, these are nice old houses as well that are getting done up. One of them is. We'll be coming up to Lydden Road in a minute. Can't fucking know. Oh, sorry, pardon my language. I'll tell you in a minute. Just point you down a sec. Oh, that's made me laugh. That old girl, she's smoking a joint. Weed, you can smell it a mile off, and drinking a can of Stella, and she's old enough to be my grandmother. Oh well, many a good tune played on an old fiddle, as they say. This is Lydden Road. I did a tour of this one, a request tour for one of the lovely page members recently. Little Iceland. Now I heard from someone that this is meant to be closing down, but I've not heard anything else on the grapevine about that one, so hopefully it's not. Hope everyone's well. At the end of each tour today, whether it's on foot or of a pub, you'll be getting the history, historical photos, information, stuff like that. The Boleyn pub and the Boleyn Tavern and the Denmark are two that I really enjoyed doing, because the Boleyn, there was quite an in-depth history in that one, and it's had a renovation in 2021 which put it back to exactly how it was when it opened in 1900, and obviously you know me, so anything like that's right up my alley. We're coming up to Newman Road now, and there's a little bit of history with this one as we go on our way. This street was named after Cardinal John Newman, 1802 to 1890, theologian and Oxford University academic, with of course the arms of Newham, which I've shown before in a picture I believe. That's St Andrew's Road over there, and St Andrew's Church with its lovely vicarage. You may remember the church, me and the minister there didn't get on too well, which, not blowing my own trumpet, it's quite unusual for me because I normally get on with most people. Yeah, we took, you know, it's chemistry in life. Sometimes people just take a disliking to each other. That's what happened. Anyway, yeah, this is the vicarage, and it's a really lovely old building. Every time we went past here on the bus, and like, because my dad was a cabbie in cab, we always used to say about how lovely this building is. My nan loved this one. Even like my mum and dad have said in the past, oh, it'd be a lovely building to live in. That. But yeah, you got that and the church, which have, well, the church has been covered, the vicarage hasn't. I wouldn't even ask. We're coming up to what is known to us locals as the sewer bank, but it is called the Greenway. The Great Northern Outfall sewer goes all the way along this and towards Beckton to a sewage plantation. Of a Friday, used to be Friday evenings, quite late, you'd hear a whooshing, because I lived right by this years ago. I lived right by there. You'd hear a whooshing sound and you'd have the most horrendous smell come up, which is flush through day. Apparently they do it more now, because obviously there's more people in London. But yeah, the smell is not nice. Used to have regular fires on the sewer bank or the Greenway when I was younger, but it doesn't seem to have happened recently, thank goodness. Just checking my wallet is safely tucked away in my back pocket. I'm just going to pause you a sec while I light up. Here we are. As I say, at the end of each tour you will get historical photos and information and stuff. The on foot ones, it will just mostly be historical photos with the location of where it is. Things like the Abbey Arms, what we started off with, our historical image. Then you'll get one of the castle, the Green Gate in its various stages throughout its life. I'm just pointing in this moment. Don't like pointing in people's faces. Green Gate Medical Centre. It's got one of the worst reputations in the borough. A very bad reputation. I speak from experience there, because it's my ex-next door neighbour Linda's doctor's surgery, and trying to get a doctor to come and see you is no easy task. Khartoum Road, named after the Battle of Khartoum and all that, of course. Our nasty old colonial days. It's all part of the history, isn't it? There we go. And we'll be coming up to our next historical locations now, which I'm not getting killed. Of course, trying not to point you in people's faces as well, because I am careful with that. I do try to be careful. The Castle Pub. The Castle Pub, which is there, and the Green Gate one we'll see in a minute. I'll try and keep each one to under 35 minutes if I can, but I'm not sure how long they'll take exactly. The Boleyn Tavern and the Denmark Tavern I've already done. They're already on my phone and ready to go on. My next pub today is the Red Lion, which was previously the Hammers, near East Ham Central Park. That had a renovation and reopened 2018 and went back to its original name of the Red Lion, because it was originally called the Red Lion then, and I can't find out the exact date of when its name change occurred, but between the 1970s and 1990s it was changed to the Hammers. Just cross over, there's an ambulance coming along. Look, there's what was the Green Gate. That's now a Tesco Express. And that's your Castle Pub, which is now a Betfred. I did this on foot tour the other day, kind of in one hog, and I was drunk, I'm a little bit, or tipsy rather. I wasn't roaring drunk, I was tipsy. I will put it on for a laugh, but there's bits I missed and stuff, and we're doing it again in the proper order as it should have been done. So now, yeah, and we're not tipsy today. Over here, this was a another couple of London legends. There was a clothiers shop, and I can't think what it was called, whether it was Donovan's, Danny's. I know it wasn't Danny's, but I always call it that. It was something like that, and he sold all the old school stuff. I'm just going to point you down because we're coming up to a bus stop. Yeah, he sold all the old school stuff, like Grandad caps, long johns, all that type of thing. Here's another one, a legend that's still thankfully going strong. He's been here years, Fassett's Jewellers. Many of you would have bought jewellery from there. Let me see this. This is what all you get along the Barking Road now. It's pretty grim along here. From Canning Town to Barking, it's a shitty road now. And the other legendary place was the Greengate Toy Shop, which was there, where Paddy Power is now. But yeah, the clothiers shop is now a coffee bar, and the toy shop is now a Paddy Power. You'll get images if I can I know there's one of the toy shop online, as it was years ago. If I can find images of both, you'll get them. See, what I do is when I film an on-foot tour like this, I watch it back, obviously, to proof watch it, to make sure it's okay to go on. But also, while I'm watching it, I make down a note of the locations I want to put historical pictures on. Cave Road, this is. And I know I had a member recently that asked me about this one. So we are going to have a wee look along here for you. Cave Road. And do forgive me, because I get fair few requests nowadays if I can't remember exactly who it was that asked me. I think it was one of the E-lanes, but I could be totally wrong. But yeah, this is Cave Road, and we're not going to go the whole length of it, but this is what I wanted to show you. Look, LCS, and this is obviously some kind of old pub, I think. So if someone can tell me exactly what it was called, I'll be grateful to you for that. But look at the old tiling. I'm glad when they leave things like this, because it's part of the heritage, isn't it? But yeah, this is Cave Road. I think it was one of, oh shit, nearly fell over. I think it was one of the E-lanes that asked me about it. They wanted to have a look at Cave Road. So here we are, Cave Road. And you've got your school over here, and schoolhouse, Hollybush Street. That's an old schoolhouse. It looks to be abandoned now. Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the school was. I think it was a school. If someone can correct me and let me know, because obviously I don't come around this way very often. I never have, because I've never had to, so I do get things wrong. And some people are really nice, like they can inform you and it's helpful, and I really like that. There's ways of informing people. You can always tell someone is doing it to be genuine and decent, and you can always tell a know-all just by the tone and the fact that they generally don't reply to your thank you for your information type of thing. But yeah, I mean, like the Memories of Plaistow and Beyond page, I mean, a cracking bunch on there. I've had so much help, and it never ever is ever put across in a smug know-all or whatnot way, ever. Never once have I had that from Memories of Plaistow and Beyond. Same as the another one of the East End pages. I share my content in very few places now. My own pages, of course, Memories of Plaistow and Beyond, and there's another East End one. I can't remember its full title, but there. And any churches goes usually on historic churches, but I ain't been putting that many on there recently. The trouble is with some Facebook groups, they're like, and I don't like saying this, and I'm not digging at people, it's very much like playgrounds, that they're very cliquey, like a cliche type thing. And if you're not in the cliche, yeah, I don't like all that type of shit, because I left school many years ago. So yeah, that's my little complain about internet pages. But Memories of Plaistow and Beyond, I mean, I've been a member, like, it's an honour to be a member of that, because the information that you get, either on my own posts where I'm not sure about things, or going for other people's posts. I mean, the pictures are amazing. Terry reminded me recently, have a look through the group photo section, which nearly everyone forgets to do or doesn't think to do, and I have been and not been disappointed. So this will be put in, this video will be on Memories of Plaistow and beyond, so when you do watch it, have a look in the group photos section. Some really good ones there. Top of the page where it says photos, click on, there are thousands. This used to be a bike shop, this one here. Then it became a DIY shop for a while. Now it is a Rosa car repairs. But yeah, it was Stratton's or something bikes, I think it was called. They've had the Barking Road up between here and East Ham for several weeks now. It's playing merry hell with the traffic, as you can imagine. These are nice old houses with the old basement flats. Not before the days of the Thames barrier, of course. I wouldn't have wanted to live in a basement flat in the era before the Thames barrier, put it that way. Because many of them flooded. Right, we are going to have to carefully wend our way around here. And when we do, I shall show you in a sec a house that my nan, every time we went past on the bus, used to say, "Oh, God blimey, sod living in that." And for the superstitious among you, you'll see why. You'll see why. Right, first of all, show you these little creepy fellows that are facing the house that my nan wouldn't want to live in, by Nathan Bowen. And the house my nan wouldn't want to live in, and the reason she wouldn't want to live in it is because of its door number of 666. I won't photograph that because that's someone's home, but yeah. Would you live there? I wouldn't. I'm very superstitious. If I drop a knife, I have to wait for someone else to pick it up. All that kind of stuff. You have to blame my nan for that. This is fairly new, last 5 years or so. See, to me, I live in this area, so I don't take... Fuck's sake. Trodden shit now. Sorry. I don't take a lot of it in. But there are very, very great changes. If each video is over, like the tour ones, are over 35 minutes and 30 something seconds, I just have to do them on YouTube, because Facebook's been a real pain of late. I was talking about it with Chris the other day, funny enough, Chris McMore from Memories of Plaistow and beyond, and she was saying that people ain't getting notifications, or you're getting the notifications, when you click on it, it's blank. So you can't keep up with people's comments, which... for people that have a page, I always, when I first started my page, one of my things, and I always try to stick to it as much as I can, was that every single person who makes a comment gets a reply. It's just good manners, isn't it? And I like the amount of people I've got on my page now. Well, that for me makes the page, you ladies and gents, especially when people like with the posts when people get talking, like the church of Our Lady in Green Street. I mean, that one really got people talking, a lot of memories. I like that, because people start sharing the memories and then it gets real history and stuff going. This is Samson Street. Sorry, it's going to have to pause you, my shoelaces come undone. This is Samson Street, and we'll have a little walk down it. The only old bit of the hospital that's left, building wise, is this on the corner, but they pulled the rest of it down, and I'll show you that in a minute when we go past the other road. But yeah, just what I'm going to zoom in on, and I can't go too far along because there's people sitting there. That there, that's the only old bits of the hospital that's left. The rest of it was all pulled down and replaced with what we're going to go and see now. But yeah, Samson Street. Samson Street Hospital, I remember that one. I had to go there a couple of times with my nan. She had towards the end of her life, edema, fluid retention, fluid on the feet. She went there once, I think it was St Andrew's Hospital in Bromley by Bow, one of the worst hospitals I've ever seen. See, look about these old houses, what I say, look, you get really nice architectural elements on them. Obviously without photographing people's properties, just pointing down because there's a bus stop. But what I want to show you in a minute is another change, and it's a nice one, because normally when they pull something down, like a church or a pub or whatnot, it's normally always replaced with housing. But this here, look, Christchurch, Newham, the old building was pulled down, and this one went up really quick. It's a modern building, of course, but if you saw the old one, even if, like me, you're not that keen on modern architecture, if you saw the old one, you would think, yeah, that needed replacing. But yeah, it's an interesting one, this, and look, the foundation stone for this church is based on Jesus Christ, who is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Pause to read, if you want to. That's nice. But yeah, they sold off a little chunk of their land, which is going to be little housing type things. We're going to have a little glimpse into the future. A couple of my videos today, this one and the Boleyn Tavern, you'll get a now, a then, and a glimpse into the future, which is the first on my page. We don't normally get glimpses into the future, but this is what is going to be here. The church sold off a little chunk of their land, which paid for the rebuilding of the new church, and that's what they'll put up in its place. Oh, we're 25 minutes. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we should be able to keep it hopefully under the 35 minutes and 30 something seconds. I hope, but I'm not sure. Now this is Creedon Road, this one. Just wait for the car to go round, and what I'm going to show you, this lot here, all this is what replaced Samson Street Hospital when they pulled the hospital down. Houses and like little apartment things, brick built. I've seen worse. I don't mind saying when it's built in brick, because it'll age nicely after a while, but I get where a lot of people come from with the modern architecture when you compare it to something like this. Anyone that's had to have a tooth extraction or dental work done in Newham may know that place, the Nightingale Clinic. I've had several teeth taken out in there over the years. Not a nice experience to just point your dash there. Just point your down because I don't like pointing the phone at people. Goddard's Vets, just there. We'll be coming up to a couple of abandons in a minute, and they've been abandoned for some years. It ain't going to be worth getting in there and having a look around, because with little tiny houses and whatnot like this and shops in London that get abandoned, when they become abandoned they clear everything out and all that's left is rubbish in there, and this one I know from someone else has got rotten floors. So, but yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it in a minute. A little bit of graffiti over there. We get a lot of graffiti in London, some don't like it, but if the person has permission, which I probably didn't with that one, don't know, I don't mind it. But if you do that to someone's property without their consent, it's a bit of a shitty thing to do, isn't it? But over here you've got an abandoned shop and house, and another abandoned shop. The property above is having work done on it. They've put new windows in recently. But this one here, when I was a young lad, kid, teenager, there was a tropical fish tank shop there. My mum and dad went there. But about 6-7 months ago, the interesting thing is, you see the cannabis leaf there, the bits 420. There was police absolutely rammed outside this place. You know, the riot type police. And from what I heard, there'd been a grow in there. A grow is a cannabis factory, to anyone that doesn't know. But yeah, there'd been a grow. We are now coming up to another building. Oh, zoom me back out. This one here, it was offices and all that before, but it's being done up now, and from what I gather, it's being turned into apartments. But this one here is called the I'll have to check the name of it, but architecturally it's not the worst building you've seen in the world. I've seen a lot of bad buildings in London. Yeah, a lot of people do moan about these mosques and stuff, but they don't bother me. It is what it is. As long as people, how I look at life, as long as someone isn't hurting me or mine, I don't care. And this is called the Ukin Masjid Ibrahim and Islamic Centre. But yeah, it's a nice building architecturally. Got dry cleaners just there. The best Turkish kebab house is you will get one of the best kebabs you've tasted from there. For me, it's a fight between that one and the one in Canning Town near Charlie's Wine Bar. I can't think of the name of it. I'm just having to point you down a minute because we're going past a bus stop. Yeah, I think with our history thing, we'll probably be going over the 35 minutes on this one. So, if we do, I'll have to put that one on YouTube. But yeah, just Bluestone Travel, and that used to be the Social Security office years ago. Yeah, that's all moved as well now, from what I tell. Selsdon Road, this was Barclays Bank, but that's been abandoned for some time, and they even took the ATM machines away, which to our conspiracy theorist friends feeds fuel to their fire of us being turned into a cashless society. And it does make you wonder, because they are taking an awful lot of banks and an awful lot of cash machines away, and it is becoming harder and harder to pay for things with cash. One of the pubs I go to in this sequence of videos is card only. They will take cash if you say, oh, it's alright, I'll go, not to worry. They will take it begrudgingly, but they are trying to encourage people to card. This used to be known as the Yellow Newham Bookshop. It's of course not yellow anymore, but it is still the Newham Bookshop, and it's a bloody good bookshop. Right, we are going to be crossing over, so I'm going to pause you. And we have now crossed over the road. That's where we were, just over there by the old bank and what was the yellow bookshop. Still the Newham Bookshop. These are nice old buildings, these ones here, and this one. 1920 that one was opened. Don't know where it was originally, on Boundary Road. But yeah, this is the World Cup statue. Got all their names around it. Champions. Balls to read if you want to. And that's where we'll end this bit of the tour, because you're now going to join me for our first pub, the Boleyn Tavern, so, which was filmed the other day. These bits have all been filmed separately, so yeah, join me over the road, and join me here actually, and we'll be going for a tour of the Boleyn Tavern, plus its history and a little bit of history of what was there. So, join me for the next part. And before we go for our tour off into the pub, we zip off back into the past, which is going to be the running theme in our tours of present and past. And we're starting off right where we started off on our journey, at the Abbey Arms, Plaistow. You can see it here in 1909. Great old pub, and still going strong, thank goodness. And this is circa 1910, and this is that stretch of road. You can't see the Abbey in this picture, but right over to the left is where the Abbey is, and this is the junction of Barking Road, Balham Street, and on the right, and over to the left, New Barn Street. So you're getting a nice little view of that there. Staddons, where Iceland now is. But many people remember Staddons. And the one that I said to you, there was a pub. There's now a barber shop with flats below. You can see that next to Staddons, and it was the Swan. Bernard's Trading, the hardware DIY shop I told you about. Dole's on one side, of Dole's houses, that was his wife that did that, and the DIY stuff and everything on the other side. Many people that lived in the area and that came to the area or knew the area will know this man, because the shop was fantastic. It was like an Aladdin's cave in there, and he had things in old measurements, imperial measurements and stuff. It was like stepping back in time. And this is 1977, and the Plaistow Memorial Community Church, the Baptist church we walked past. You can see it here, and the little row of houses, 1977. Now if you see, right next to the Baptist tabernacle, these old houses that are directly next to it are now gone, because there's some modernish kind of centre thing there. So there's another little lost piece of past. 1970s, and Plaistow police station when it was still going strong. And next to the police station, where the luxury flats now are, that's where that garage and car centre was, and it looks in this picture as if it was still the same thing in the 70s. So that was a business that was there for a long time. When we got to Newman Road and I showed you the road sign, Cardinal John Newman, who the road was named after. This is Cardinal John Newman. The castle, which is now a Betfred at the Green Gate. It used to be a lovely old pub. You can see it painted in the claret and blue here. This is how I remember it, and how it was when I drank in there. But a little bit of zipping off into the past with that one. 1920s, same view. I'm surprised how clean and nice everything looks in this picture. And the Green Gate pub, which is now the Tesco's Express. This is early 2000s, this picture. And zip off into the past for this one, because it's got a long and prestigious past, the Green Gate. This was the old Green Gate, and like the Black Lion in Plaistow, it has a long history as a coaching inn. It was blown up and damaged badly in the war, and replaced with what we've just seen here. But this is it here in the 1930s. And this is it in the 1890s. And massive thanks to Chris and everyone on Memories of Plaistow and Beyond that helped with the names of these two shops, and Chris for supplying the photo. It's really appreciated, because it's one of the main themes I wanted to enter into the video, because many of us remember this toy shop very well and loved it. And Dean's, the outfitters. I mean, I've worn grandad caps since my teens, and I got one once and it was a bit small, and my nan said to me, I'll go to, obviously, Dean's, he'll stretch it for you. I didn't know that a hat could be stretched. I took it in there, he had a machine thing that steam came out of, and he opened it up bit by bit, and it opened out like the petals of a flower and stretched my hat. He did everything in there, long johns, woolen socks, everything. And the toy shop, well, don't need to go into too much detail about that one, because it was brilliant. My first train set came from there, model aeroplanes and lots of my sister's toys and things, and it was also a stationer's as well. Here is Dean's, a nice little picture. Credit to Brian Pattinson for this one, and thanks for letting me use the picture, mate. I appreciate that. But yeah, this shows the merchandise, what was in Dean's Men's Outfitters. When we got to between the Green Gate and the Boleyn, we came to a church, didn't we, that I told you had been knocked down and rebuilt as a church, and they sold the small little section of land off over to one side. Well, this is the church that was previously there. It was put up in the 20s or 30s, and come the time that it was knocked down and replaced, it was in a bit of a state. The roof had gone, and they sold off a little chunk of their land and completely rebuilt with what we saw in my video. Sampson Street Hospital, this is it as it was in 1904. It was a big old complex with Sampson Street. Even when I was younger, and not too many years ago, it was a large hospital. And here we're coming towards the end now. The Boleyn Tavern and the Barking Road, and just over to the left you've got the interchange of Green Street. But yeah, the old tram going along on number 2, take you to Stratford. That would have come from East Ham Tram Depot, so bear that in mind. That will be in one of our little tours, the old tram depot. And this is 1931, this image, and how different the world was back then. Just 8 years before World War II. And this one's March 1958, and I believe, because Carol, one of my history friends, sent me this one, and she said she believes it was from a football day, because look at the crowds and everything outside the Boleyn and whatnot. She said she thinks it was from a match day. And that, ladies and gents, concludes our tour. Hope you all enjoyed that. And now we shall go off into the Boleyn pub that we're seeing here for that drink and that tour. So join me for part 2.